Eleanor Voss stood frozen in the icy Chicago wind, staring at the eviction notice taped to her apartment door. Her fingers trembled as she peeled it off, the paper crackling like a death sentence. Inside, her 3 children, Lila, 8, Ben, 6, and Mia, 3, huddled on the couch, wrapped in threadbare blankets. The space heater sputtered, its feeble warmth no match for the draft seeping through cracked windows. "Mommy, I'm hungry," Ben mumbled, his voice small. Eleanor forced a smile. "We'll eat soon, buddy." But the fridge was empty except for a jar of peanut butter and a shriveled apple. Job rejections littered the kitchen table. Single mothers aren't reliable. "We need someone with a stable home life." The words haunted her. She'd been a nurse once, before her husband's sudden heart attack left her drowning in medical debt. Now, even grocery runs felt like covert missions, timing her arrival at the food bank after fresh donations. That night, she scribbled a fake resume by candlelight. Licensed nurse. 10 years experience. Punctual. Dependable. Lies. Her license had expired 2 years ago. Mia coughed in her sleep. Eleanor tucked the eviction notice into her Bible, its pages frayed from years of desperate prayers. Edward Marston's law firm was a fortress of glass and steel. Eleanor adjusted her thrift store blazer, its sleeves too short, and tightened her grip on Ben's hand. The receptionist sneered. "No children allowed." "Please," Eleanor said. "Just 5 minutes." Edward emerged, tie askew, smelling of bourbon. "What do you want?" "Work. I'll clean floors. Answer phones. Anything." He studied her, no suit, no polish, just raw desperation. "File clerk. $10 an hour. Fail and you're gone." That night, she celebrated with stolen office pens and a prayer. The kids devoured ramen noodles. "We're safe now," she whispered. Mia hugged her. "You're my hero, Mom." Eleanor sorted paperwork, her hands numb from paper cuts. Then, a folder labeled Greenfield Realty. Medical records mixed with property deeds, a child's leukemia diagnosis, a grandmother's stroke, all tied to a town called Greenfield, Ohio. "Why link health records to land purchases?" she muttered. Edward snatched the file. "Mind your business." But Eleanor couldn't. That weekend, she drove to Greenfield, its streets lined with "for sale" signs. Residents smiled wearily. "The company pays top dollar for old homes," a neighbor said. But Eleanor saw hollow eyes. A playground empty. A clinic overcrowded with coughing patients. Eleanor knocked on doors, notebook in hand. "When did the sickness start?" 6 months after the factory opened, a farmer said, spitting blood into a handkerchief. She collected water samples, her hands shaking as she handed them to a rogue chemist. The results confirmed her worst fear: arsenic, benzene, lead. The company was poisoning Greenfield. Edward slammed his desk. "You're insane. This is corporate suicide." "You knew," she hissed, slapping the files down. "You're complicit." He paled. "I didn't know." "We sue. Today." The company retaliated. Threats arrived daily. "Drop the case or lose your kids." A fire gutted her apartment. The kids hid under beds, Mia screaming, "Mommy, why are they mean?" Eleanor held them, tears streaming. "Because we're winning." A lab tech leaked internal emails. Edward worked nights, poring over documents. "You're a pit bull in kitten heels," he muttered. The trial dragged. Reporters camped outside. "How are you still standing?" one asked. "Because I have to," she said, thinking of Mia's cough, Ben's nightmares, Lila's silent tears. The courtroom buzzed. The jury foreman stood. "Guilty on all counts. $280 million for the victims." The CEO's face turned purple. Eleanor hugged her kids, their laughter echoing. Edward grinned. "You're a nightmare in heels." That night, they slept in a new apartment, warm, safe, eviction notice burned to ashes. Years later, Eleanor's face graced Time magazine, the Erin Brockovich of Ohio. She founded a non-profit, fighting corporate giants nationwide. Lila became a lawyer. Ben, a doctor. Mia, a journalist. "Why keep fighting?" a reporter asked. Eleanor smiled. "Because the bad guys never quit." Neither do I. At 50, Eleanor still worked nights. New battles waited, a town, a toxin, a mother's roar. A young mom approached her. How do you keep going? Eleanor glanced at her kid's photo. Because someone has to. And the fight went on.